Hey guys, and welcome back to the Zach Quick Shooter channel. Today we are going back to our Planet Zoo, building our zoo just for a bit of fun for a midweek content. I'm sorry there was no video last week. I just didn't have a lot of time to play last week. I was here, there, and everywhere sorting other things. But here we are back building the zoo, and in this video we are building a staff centre and just decorating what we did last week. I know I said I did it off camera, but I just decided to do it on camera anyway. So whenever I'm on this world now, I will be recording it, so you will see everything pretty much. But to start off with, we're going to decorate the car park. I used these lovely pink and green bushes. I can't remember what they're called though, as to give it a bit of colour. And I then decided to go around what I'd already done with the is it the Aqualia trees, I think they're called? As those trees look really nice. I think I threw a one or two cover over trees in, but I just chose to go back to the Aqualia ones, as they are the smallest and nicest looking in my opinion. Yeah, you'll also have to excuse my voice and the sniffling in this voiceover, because I have suffered from a cold this week and it wouldn't go away. So if I do start sniffling or sound funny on microphone, it's just because I've had a cold and my nose is a bit funny. But anyway, after placing all the trees, I decided to place a couple of leaves on the ground to simulate leaves falling. I tried to get some greenish leaves to match the same colour as the trees, but they didn't stick, so I just decided to go with the brown ones, and it will simulate dead leaves. I then moved to the other car park and started putting all the trees down. I used the same trees as to keep it all matching. There's no point having multiple different trees in one. I then went and did the leaves on the floor of the car park, again just to simulate leaves falling from the trees. And I gotta say, from what I've built, obviously this is this is voiceover, so I already know what everything looks like. I must say this is probably one of the best zoos I've built so far. Even though I've only built 2 things on it yet, but it still looks pretty good for me. Right, I then decided to go down the middle path and and fill in the gaps in there. I think I used the Alpine Picadelia. I don't know how you say it. Plus, on my screen it looks quite small, so I can't read it. But I just filled in the gaps down there with them, as to make it have a bit more colour and a bit more pop. I didn't bother putting trees though, because I wanted this area to be a bit more open, so you can see round and everything. But it looks quite nice. I then decided to take one of my own suggestions from when I said last video, and I tried to make my own pay for parking booth. So I decided to use some of the colour blocks and turn them grey, and try to piece together how it would, but it ended up looking a bit like a tombstone, which I weren't too happy with. So I think in the end I just decided to bin it off, because I couldn't do it. I've tried to add the peace symbol for the parking sign, and it just looked awful. It looked terrible. So I think I just gave up with it and just binned it off. Realistically, we don't need parking money anyway. Because our zoo's going to be the best, it's going to be expensive. But after failing at doing the pay for parking sign, I tried to make an archway for the entrance of the zoo. I went to use brick and then decided against it because it just didn't look as nice. So I decided to use some wood struts, and I just recoloured them, because they come out, at the start they come off blue. I just recoloured them to a darker brown, trying to match the colour of the wall that we already had in. But other than that, it worked pretty well. It came to my attention though when I was building this, we didn't actually have a name for our zoo. So I was trying to think of a name, and I couldn't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it open to you guys. What do you guys want to name this zoo? So at the minute I'm just calling it zoo. Like you'll see on some stuff I build later, it will just say to like, oh, welcome to the zoo, whatever, because it hasn't got a name yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it open to you guys to choose the name. So if you've got a good name, leave it down below and I will pick the best one. Ooh. But yeah, that is the archway built. I think I did leave the sign blank because obviously it don't have a name yet. I'm going to leave it to you guys. But yeah, I then moved inside of the little like souvenir area. I started hanging up fairy lights around the top because it was quite dark in there, and guests need to be able to see. I tried to get some like normal like lights, but there weren't really many that I enjoyed, so I just decided to use the fairy lights. Just hung them up around the back and sides of the building. And then went to that little area and started filling it up with some bushes. I used the same bushes as I did for the car park and main path, as they look rather nice together. But I then went out and started to connect up some of the pathing, as it's all going to be connected. I went with the 7 metre stone path that I did with the main entrance. But now it was time to start building our staff centre. So I started placing down our quarantine, staff room, mechanic workshop, veterinarian, all the like. Oh, apologies for that. That's what happens when I talk for a while. In a mill. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me get a drink quickly, actually. God, I hate being ill. Anyway, what was I saying? I placed down all the main staff facilities and I went and covered it round with brick because my idea was to make it look like a brick house. Like a bog standard brick house with a slanted, not slanted roof, like a roof that's like, you can see what I'm building, you know what I mean, I don't know what it's called. But placing this roof was really fucking finicky. Like, I just could not do it. Like, you'll see in a minute, you can see it hanging off there. I thought I was on the wall. So I had to, like, try and like move it back in. And then I wanted a little bit of an overhang, but then it wouldn't go because it was too much. So I had to scrap that idea. But I then just duplicated it and then placed the top of the roof on. Like, it doesn't look like much at the minute, but after I'd finished building it, it looked really nice. I then decided to go and add some rain gutters, like around, as like in case it rains, it's going to need to leak somewhere, and I'm not just going to have it leak off in front of the doors because it's just going to make it look unnecessarily tidy. But before I carried on building the gutters, I wanted to add like a bit more decoration to the wall. So I went and got some North African plaster bricks and like shimmied them into the wall to make it look like a coloured border, which I think looked really nice in the end. As you can see, we're going up the whole way round. And then instead of just doing it all again, I just copied and duplicated it all the way around the building. I didn't bother decorating the inside though because you're never going to see the inside. Like, it's just going to be the outside that the guests see. So I'm not too bothered about making the inside look nice. Plus, if there is anything that I do need to add in there, I can always just rejig it and then decorate it. But yeah, after doing all that, I moved the gutter back in and started to work my way up to the roof. But it came to I had to like try and like match where it was going to be to the bottom pipe. So what I did was I placed the top piece, shimmied the pipe up, and then just relined it as so. And then just carried on placing the pipes down. And then put the end of the pipe on one side. and then continue to move down to the other end of the building. So all the water off the roof would slide into the gutter and then just go down the drain, and we'd have proper drainage systems. Like so. And then move back down to do a bottom layer of border to the front of the house. I can't remember if I did it the whole way around the house or if it was just the front wall. The front wall. I don't even think I finished it actually. No, I think I'd stopped the recording for one day and just moved on. So I'll fix that next time I'm on. I couldn't quite figure out how to get these paths work, because every time I wanted to change the small path, it would change to the staff path. So I think what I eventually did was I just connected all paths together to one path, and just decided to leave it as that. Because actually, see, I was struggling with the staff paths there. Yeah, I also forgot there was stuff around the back of the building, so I had to reconnect all that. I wanted to build a gate around the outside though, because I know the staff pass stop the guests from going to it, but I'd still want it to be gated off, so no one actually got the idea to go down it. So I put a gate up in front of it, and then started to build a fence around the back. But I tried to find the no entry sign first to hang on the door, but I couldn't find it. I eventually did find it and hung it up later on though. But yeah, so we used the Twilight Gate pieces from the Twilight pack just to create a border around the staff centre, just to stop the guests from thinking they could go in. And then I reconnected all the paths together just to make it as one path. There aren't going to be very many staff going to there anyway, so we only need one small path. And then applied a load of fake windows to the front of the house, again to make it look like a proper house. And then applied an AC unit to the side to help keep it cool inside. I then decided to add a little bit of decoration to the front, adding some bushes and stuff in front of the windows to give it a bit of a foragey look. I used some red bushes, I think it's the bramble bushes, and I decided to add some of the pink stuff back in just to give it again a bit more colour. It was hard picking which bushes to use though, because a lot of them were huge and they didn't quite fit in where I wanted them to. But again, we got it worked out, and we added some more colour to it with some of the purple ones as well. I then decided to add a couple of trees around the area, again just to give it a bit more decoration. And then added some of the buffalo grass, just to give it like a bit of a long grassy look. Not to make it look abandoned, just to give it like what would look like a front lawn. And I thought it looked quite nice in the end. I then went on to finish the fencing around the outside. Ooh. You have to pardon me if I have to have a drink. But I meant to move on to the fencing around the outside, just to give it that border, so no guests could get in and see the behind the scenes stuff. Because I don't really think they need to see a penguin in the vet with tuberculosis or whatever it is. No one needs to see that. As sad as it is, like, it's a happy place. You don't need to see the penguin going down. I'm also another thing I'm going to leave to you guys. Which animal should I add to the zoo first? Because I'm struggling to choose. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys as well. I feel like at the front of the zoo is going to be all the smaller exhibits first, so like meerkats, red foxes, and all that stuff. But again, I still can't decide, so I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Please do drop a comment down below which animal you would like to see in the zoo first, and I will choose the majority. by the majority decision. But we carry on placing the fences around the facility, and then move into the final 8-stage fencing. It didn't quite line up, but I did end up fixing it anyway. Like, it was only a simple fix. I just lined it up and then just like jimmied a fence in there. No one's going to see around the back of the building, so it doesn't matter if it's not level. But again, I moved back into the building, and I copied and placed the gutter to the other side of the building as well. So again, it would just leak down into it and clear all the rainwater off. I then also added some more windows to the sides and the back of the building. Again, just to make it look a bit more realistic as a brick house. I didn't bother replacing the windows that were already there, because again, at least you can still see into some of it. And then I did a chimney in case people were like having like gas in there, so it could let the steam out. After doing all that, I went back to placing trees around the outside of the building. Again, just to add a bit more decoration. I tried to keep it as off the building as much as possible, but I think some leaves did go in. So if at any point I zoom into the staff centre or anything, and there is a couple of leaves, it's just from the trees. But again, it's not like you're going to see in there much anyway. I then went back round with the buffalo grass, trying to fill up as much of the space as possible. I had to use a mixture of both the tall and the small one, just to try and fill in all the gaps, because some of it was oddly placed. But I carried on going around with the buffalo grass. The buffalo grass is actually a really nice thing to use in the habitats as well, because it adds a bit more like extra depth into the scenery. Plus you can mix it with the I think it's the dried buffalo grass, and it gives it a little bit more colour as well, and a bit more pop. So in a lot of my habitats you will see a lot of buffalo grass. I've made it the whole way around the building with the grass now, and then I decided it needed a bit more colour to it, so I think I went and added some of the dandelions in. I think it was the white and yellow ones, to add a bit more colour to it, as like this place needs a bit of colour. I just started like placing randomly around the trees, and then just adding bits into the grass. I tried to make it like patchy, so not all of it was going to be dandelions. But it ended up looking rather nice in my opinion. I think I ended up like trying to change that, because I realised I was just doing vertical lines most of the way around. So I tried to like change how they were looking, because there's no point just having lines of dandelions. It's just going to look stupid. But there we go. I believe that was the staff facility done. I then decided to go back into the souvenir shop and start to add like more shells and cashiered booths, because I forgot to do it when I was actually in there like decorating. So I decided to do that after the staff facility. I ended up placing a couple more cashier booths and a load more shelves, so we could sell more products and make more profit. There wasn't really any specific sections for everything. I just placed a load of stuff in, and then just like had 2 shelves for each product. That thing needs to shut up. I put had the back wall and the right hand side wall all just like normal shelves for stuff, and then made the left hand wall the ones with the hooks, so we could sell more variety stuff. And then I added 2 more cashier tables to the other side of the shops, and we've now got 5. But here am I adding the shelves with the hooks. I think this meant we could sell t-shirts and the bags, which again gives it a bit more variety to what we could sell. I then just duplicated what I'd already built in the middle a couple more times, just to give it more stuff to sell. I then decided to fill up all the shelves with t-shirts, tote bags, posters, umbrellas, masks, hats, puzzles, plushies, mugs, animal statues, all that stuff. Just like that, yeah. We filled up the entire shop with stuff, and then I'm not sure when we unpause time eventually once we've got some animals. I'm not sure if we have to refill all this stuff, so maybe I'll have to refill it all at some point. But here we are, just adding in a load of the masks and hats. I wanted to go for the more popular animals that we have on the bigger shelves. So like the rhino mask, the lion hats, and the giraffe baseball caps all have 2 shelves, while the spiders, the frogs, and the mooses all have 1 shelf because they're not going to be as big animals here. Like, I don't recall ever wanting to go to the zoo to see a moose. I always wanted to go and see the giraffes. I filled up all the middle shelves as well with a load of the stuff we were already selling. And there we go, the souvenir shop is done. I then went back to the food court area and just added a load of the standing signs outside. It was in a bit of a... I ended up finding that sign and ended up placing it back onto the gate, just to say that guests weren't allowed in. And then I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do, so I ended up adding up a sign outside and just wrote souvenir shop on it. And then had a look at adding some other signs in. So I placed, I think, 4 around the entrance of the zoo, and then just changed it for exit and entrance. So I had welcome wrote on one, and enjoy the animals, and I had goodbye and see you soon on the other side for the exit. I then added some more buffalo grass around to give it some more depth, and added some of the dried buffalo grass in, as a lot of that area is under shade, so a lot of the grass would have been killed. Would have died, been killed. Around some of the signs as well, I think around all the signs, I added some of the animal statues to help show some of the animals that will be in the zoo. Because I'm going to try and add as many animals as possible, and some of the more popular ones. I then went to decorating that little area around the side there with some trees. And then I had the idea of building a rock wall along the side, which I thought was a very good idea. And I'm just going to have writing on the side of it, which made for a... Well, I think it looked alright. It made for a nice little decoration thing. Obviously it doesn't look like much to me, it just looks like a giant fence of rock. But I did add some other rocks in afterwards and tried to make it look a bit more rock-like. Again, this rock wall isn't the best part of the build. Well, of what I've done, it's probably one of the weaker ones. So I probably will re-look at doing it again later on. But for now, it'll do. It still looks rather posh. But again, here I just wrote welcome to the zoo, because again, we don't have a name for the zoo. That's down to you guys to sort. So again, please comment down below the name you want the zoo to be, and I will choose the best one. I tried to find an exclamation point sign. I couldn't find it. I know there is one somewhere, but I think it's not the thick one. So again, I just added these metal animal plaques to the side of it. And then went back and tried to cover the side up with rocks so you couldn't see round it from the car park. Because there's no point just having the sides and the front done up. You may as well do the back, because otherwise you get to see through it all. I added some more rocks to the front just to give it a bit more shape. I also added a lion statue next to the welcome sign. I then went back round to that big open area where we placed a load of trees and just started placing buffalo grass around. Just to give it a bit more decoration, because I don't really want a lot of blank area in the zoo. I want it all to be full, whether it's with enclosures, buildings, or decorate. Like if it's just like a small area, I'll just add like a load of plants and stuff to it. But I couldn't quite decide what I wanted to do with that area to the right, well behind this wall. So what I might do is just build a fence around it, and then just like have it as enclosures. Because again, I don't want much empty area in the zoo, because it will just be wasted space that way. But I carried on placing rocks around and just tried to make the rock wall look as nice as possible. I then realised I was protruding some of the rocks, so I had to shuffle them back a little bit, just to get them off the fence, not the fence, the wall. Sorry. And there we go. That will be the end of this part of the zoo. I thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.